Sorry, I had the mic off. Hey, Jerry, dumpster fire. Dan, it's my fault. Hey, Tim. Anybody that wants to come on up, come on up. Let's get this thing started. Uh, been out running around most of the day. I went out and took a couple vlogs that I'll put up later. One vlog I had to do twice because my gimbal, Jerry, you might be able to help me out with this. This is the kind of gimbal I have. I think it's the same as yours. But for some reason, when I was using my phone with it, it wouldn't record. If I took my phone off of it, it recorded. I discovered that after I thought I was recording a video. It was about a 9-minute video, so it was a nice little walk. And when I realized I didn't, I thought, well, I tried it without the gimbal. And oh, it's working. So I put it back with the gimbal, and it didn't work. So anyway, we figured, well, I'll go ahead and do a short video. It's about, I don't know, 6-7 minutes, something like that, without the gimbal. So, and I also did somebody pulled up in a 64, I believe it was, Galaxy Ford, looking really nice. So I took a video of that. The people know it because I showed it to them and they said it was okay for me to post it. So I'll post that later. And then I took another video of some wood carvings that somebody's selling. That's a short one, a little less than 2 minutes. So I haven't uploaded those yet. Hello, Judy. How you doing? And like I said, Dan, come on up. I don't see anybody in the studio waiting to come in. So Dan, you can come up. Jerry, you're more than welcome. Dumpster Fire, if you want to come up and introduce yourself to other people, come on up. Uh, let's try to get this thing going. And I know Judy has not come up. She says she doesn't have a channel, but she can come up anytime she wants. So I got a few hunger grand. I just cooked myself a couple hamburgers myself. Just got through finishing those. Yeah. Like I said, they were supposed to be connected. I've used it before and it's worked, Tim. And so for some reason today it wouldn't. So I thought, well, I got it on the charger, charging it up. Maybe it didn't have enough of a charge because it's been a while since I charged it. But you know how you get the red dot that shows that you're supposed to be recording, and then you hit that red dot and it's supposed to split into a small dot and a pause button. It would never split. And I didn't realize that, like I said, and I did this video and did almost 6,000 steps walking the place. I didn't video that much of it. I didn't think anybody wanted to see that much of my walk. And so then like I said, I realized it. I went back and just video a small portion, about the same part that I did before. And if I go back here and do it again, this is at the bike path, or they call it the bike way, at Lock 7, which I've done the video in Lock 7. But this is just a walking bicycle path, and matter of fact, the one that's got no audio at all, that was the different part of the the bike path that I walked. And like I said, I tried to do about a voiceover, and it uploaded it instead. Hey, Dumpster Fire, like I said, if you want, come on up, buddy. Introduce yourself to people. And I just, like I said, it gets lonely up here now. You all know I can talk for a while. So, and I haven't updated my Nightbot, people. So if you put too many emojis in there, it will put you on a timeout. So just to let you know. No, Dumpster Fire, really not a college football fan. I think there's some good play there, but there's a rule that I think is really stupid. So I don't watch it because of that. The rule that I think is really stupid is if a player falls down, no one near him. He's got the ball. He falls down. He's down. I don't like that. I like the rule that they only have to have 1 foot in because they're amateurs. 1 foot's good. You know, I just I am not a. I didn't like college basketball until they came up with a shot clock. Now I don't know how old you are, and you may not. You may remember, you may not. But there was a an offensive strategy called four corners. Now Notre Dame. I'm from Indiana. Notre Dame was famous for playing four corners. And what they do is you have a player standing pretty much each corner, and they just pass the ball around until they got a layup. And they might take 5 minutes to do it. Now, you tell me that's not boring. Now, when they got the shot clock, which is longer than the pro, the game sped up. And when they did that, I started following basketball. Now, I'm from Indiana, so most of my teams I like are out in Indiana. Matter of fact, I'm a huge fan of Indiana State University. That's in my hometown. Larry Bird played his college ball there, not at Indiana University, which is in Bloomington. He went to Bloomington for maybe a month, if that long, and he dropped out. It just overwhelmed him. His dad, I think, had just committed suicide a little before he started school, and he's from a little small town, and the college was like 50,000 students, so it just kind of overwhelmed him. And so he dropped out. And a year later, he went to Indiana State University, which everybody knows well, not everybody, but a lot of people know that's where, he became famous and became he was a great basketball player, but that's where it was noticed. And they got a big, huge statue, which maybe I'll get a video of it when I'm back home visiting the family, out in front of the Hallman Center, which is where he played his ball. And hello, Larice. Come on up if you like. I like talking to other people. Now, I can talk. As a lot of you know, I can talk. But I enjoy it more when there's somebody else talking back or talking with me and we're interacting. But like I said, so that's where Larry Bird went. And then I followed Boston Celtics because of Larry Bird. But I was actually a Pacers fan unless they were playing Boston, because Boston was first and foremost because of Larry. Now, I got out his senior year. I never heard of the kid till I got home. And then I was a football fan, but more of Purdue because I was born in Lafayette, and West Lafayette, just across the river. That's where Purdue's at. But I like IU. I do root for Notre Dame, but like I said, I prefer IU or Purdue in football. I like in other words, I like the Big Ten. But you don't get them out where I'm at now very much. And they're down a little bit. Yes, Dumpster Fire. He went to IU first in Bloomington. I don't think he ever even had official practice with the team. Bobby Knight recruited him. And Bobby Knight admitted that he didn't pay enough attention to Larry. And like I said, Larry was overwhelmed. And so he dropped out and went back to French Lick, Indiana, which is where he's from, and started working for the street department. He picked up trash, did whatever job they needed. And if you ever read his book, he'll talk about that. And I guess when he goes back home, he at least he used to go see the guys because he still knew them and worked with them. And he said he really appreciated the fact that they gave him a job. And then Bill Hodges, who was the assistant coach at Indiana State University, started going down to French Lick and trying to recruit Larry Bird. And because Bill Hodges was really down there and really recruiting him hard, he told Bill Hodges, look, he says, if I decide to go back to school, I'll do it. Now, Indiana State Terre Haute's a lot larger than Bloomington. All right. Terre Haute's probably about twice the size of Bloomington. But Bloomington's about 4 times the size, maybe 5 times the size of Indiana State University. And so it has a small town feel. The whole town does. And so Larry Bird came up, felt comfortable, and he stayed and became Larice, if Nightbot spanks you, I'll spank Nightbot. just don't put down too many emojis. I haven't reset it. I need to reset it. And so right now, if you put down more, I think three emojis, it gives you a timeout. So I don't want anybody getting a timeout if they can keep from it. Yes. Yes, Jerry. The reason I got a grumpy nightbot. Takes up after me. You only eat one donut per day, Dan? Oh, come on, man. I could eat more than that. You could too, but yeah, you're right. You got to watch them. And so anyway, I got, like I said, I got home. I got some things put away and some things I don't have put away. And we're just trying to see what's going on. And like I said, you know me, I love to talk to people. I've been a people person all my life. I can go. I only have a few close friends, and that's all I've ever had. But if you watch my video about before I was Lazy Larry, well, you know, by the time I was 13, I lived in 18 different houses. I went to 6 different elementary schools, and one of those 6 I went to twice. I went fourth grade and kindergarten, and so I changed schools 7 times. And that's a lot in 7 grades. So you got used to not having a lot of close friends. I come from a large family. I still have 4 sisters, 3 older than me and 1 younger. I had 2 brothers, an older and younger brother. They've both since passed away. My younger brother lived to be about 56. My older brother was only 37. And so at that time, it's just the way life is. I've outlived both my brothers, my father. My mother is 96. She'll be 97 in January. My grandfather, her father and her grandfather both lived to be around 92 or a little over. She's got an uncle, Orange, on her mom's side, and not her dad's side, on her mom's side, that lived to be about 98. So there's longevity on my mom's side of the family. My dad's mom lived to be about 88. And his dad died when he was 11, but that was a double pneumonia. And so, I mean, I'm just trying to have fun and live my life. And if I ever get out of debt and save up some money, I definitely want to go back to the Philippines. I was there when I was in the Navy. I like to go visit some of the people that I talk with. I'd love to go see Dan and his wife and some of the people in I gotta say this right. Bye Bye City. I want to say Baby because that's the way it's spelled, but it's pronounced Bye Bye. All right, Dan. I got it right, Dan? Bye Bye City. And I'd also would love to go to Iloilo. That river walk there in Iloilo looks fantastic, and that river is really clean. And they did that. Oh, I saw a video on that about 8-10 years ago. They cleaned that river up. And they got a real nice walkway. You can walk around it and over the bridges, and that looks like it'd be fun. A nice, clean place to visit. Then some of us follow the Philippine Info channel, and Steven, he's in Cavite, General Trias, I believe that's where he's at. That looks like a nice area. But if I go, I either want to go. I want to go to Manila, I think, for a week or 2. If I can afford it. Manila is probably the most expensive place to go. And, but anyway, they got, Dan brought him up yesterday, Marker 44. It's a vlogger. And Marker 44 is where their marker is for where General Douglas MacArthur came back when he came back to the Philippines in World War II. They got a statue there and all that. It's really nice. And Marker 44 goes around and does some videos that look really, really good videos. So if you're all looking for some information, that's a place you may want to go. And he did a video, I've heard, I haven't seen it yet, on the American Filipino Cemetery in Manila. This is the people that were killed in Vietnam. Listen to me. That's my era, I mean. In World War II in the Philippines, they were, they were buried there, and it's a gorgeous cemetery. Steve from Philippine Info Channel, he has a video on it, but he says that Marker 44 did a better job. I like the one that Stephen did. So, like I said, it's something I really like to go see for myself. They have a gorgeous monument that goes in there and lists all the people's names that are buried there, what branch of service. I think it even lists their religion, and I believe it's listed by, I think the branch, but I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the video, and it is. Uh, Now, Dumpster Fire, remember now, he's got a daughter just starting college. So he may be busy getting everything done and helping his wife because, she still works. And maybe they're planning, they have that apartment, but maybe they're planning on moving. I don't know. I'm just saying, I mean, there's things that can keep you busy. But I agree with you. I mean, he should be able to do at least one live stream a week. I really miss his live streams. I as Dan knows, I interact with people, and I love that. Even on the chat, if I'm on the chat, I don't do it in Steven because his is, like I said, his is more of an info channel. He's giving you information about the Philippines and things that are going on. I really enjoy that, and occasionally I'll react to somebody there. But on some of the channels where they're just talking about stuff we're going on and stuff, people are asking questions. I'll respond to those. I mean, matter of fact, Chris in Cebu is the reason I got my name Lazy Larry, and I explained that in one of my videos as well, and then I changed it to Lazy Larry Lee, and I explained that in another video as well, is why I did that. But it's just that I'm like I said, Chris got me into live streams. He's the first live streamer I ever watched. And I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy it. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. Like I said, I enjoy the interaction. You type in a question, either Chris answers or somebody else. And sometimes it doesn't get answered. But, he's walking down the street back in those days. And he was doing good to answer the ones he did because you kind of hard to see it. He's doing it on a cell phone. Jerry knows how tough that can be. He walks around and uses his cell phone for his live streams. And he'll probably tell you that it's tough to read the questions on the phone as you're walking. Now, Chris was real good at it. Yeah, Jerry, that's what I was thinking. She might be busy with her studies, and he's busy helping her, get back and forth to college. And although I think it's the same area, but you got to get her books, you got to get her clothes, and because some of those schools they want you to wear, uniforms, which is not the case here. So and maybe he just decided he needed a break. He'd been doing YouTube for a long time. I started following Chris about 5-6 years ago, maybe longer. And like I said, I started following Chris before he started doing live streams. And just shortly after I started following him, that's when he went to live stream. And I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. Like I said, and I really liked it. But you guys are really going to seriously leave me up here hanging? Nobody's going to come up and talk with me. Dad, Dumpster Fire wants to know where you're at in the Philippines. And so Jerry's in South Texas. I mean, it's in his name. But now, Luis, where are you from in the Philippines? Where are you from? Like I said, Luis, just type in LLL. Let's get your channel dropped so people can see where you're at, and maybe they'll connect to you. Anybody that's interested in the Philippines, a lot of the people on here are, not everybody. Matter of fact, we got a small crowd, I think, today. But that's all right. We're going to do what we do. And Hey, Tim. Closest water to you is in your refrigerator, huh? Well, I'll be honest. The closest water to me right now is in my bathroom, but I wouldn't drink that, so I'd have to go to the refrigerator or at least the kitchen. I got a Brita water filter. Now the water here is probably good enough to drink, but I just prefer a little more purified water. I make my coffee with it. I just make my tea, and if I drink regular water, it's out of the Brita filter. It's attached to the nozzle, but and it's cheaper than buying bottled water. And so, anyway, like I said, if you type LLL, Nightbot will drop your link, and people can maybe go and check out your channel. And I'm really sad nobody's wanting to come up and talk with me. Hey, Edward D. Beck, how you doing, sir? Big Mac Daddy himself. But Sammy's not here. Robert's not here. I was hoping they'd be here. I'm trying to see that. It looks like it's got an I with a 9. I don't know what that is. All right, next to it says live and shows how long you've been on. But I don't know what that eye looking thing with it. Now it says 8. Maybe that's a like, or maybe that's how many people are up. No, that's how many people's up. All right. So we lost one. And yes, Larice, I see that you're still in the background. But like I said, I wish you'd come up and talk. Hey, all right, we got Jerry here.
Yeah. Hey, how's everyone?
Just having fun, trying to anyway.
Yeah, I was in Brownsville today.
Was you?
Like I went to Brownsville, Texas.
Did you do a video?
I have probably 15 videos. I already started editing.
Okay.
I already edited 7.
All right, I'll have to check out the Brownsville. Like I said, my parents used to, for the winter, before my dad died, they would go down to Texas, South Texas. They'd go to Brownsville or Mission. And they went to one first and then the other later, and they liked the second one better. That's why they transferred. It might have just been because they knew people there that they got along with better. But a lot of the people that went to Texas back in those days were Midwesterners.
Yeah, down here we don't call them snowbirds like they do in Florida. We call them winter Texans.
Oh, winter Texans? Okay. I was going to say they were Texas snowbirds, but a lot of, like I said, a lot of the Midwestern people go to Texas, and then the eastern side goes to Florida.
Yes, Midwest and Canada.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know where Canada went, but I like I said, I do know that the Midwest went down there. Dad knew some people from Illinois that were they were a lot younger. But they were farmers, and their kids were. They had a son or two that ran the farm, worked with them, and lived on the farm. And during the winter, the kids would take care of whatever needed to be taken care of. So once the harvest was in, they'd boogie down to Texas and then stay there till about planting time. Then they'd go back up and work through the season with their kids. And like I said, that was their routine. Their kids were older, and I might have even been married, but I mean they were only like their 40s or 50s, and they weren't the typical snowbirds who are in their 60s and older. Now my mom was in her 50s, but she's 7 years younger than my dad. And my dad was on total disability, so he wasn't even 60 yet when he first started going down. And so they loved it. They started going down. Canadians go to the heat. Hey, so the Midwesterners, you want the heat. But, it was just, it's just something to do. I mean, Dad spent one winter and it got below zero every day for over a month. It didn't get, I don't know if it got above zero that month. I was in the Navy, and it drove my father nuts because like I said, he was on total disability. and he couldn't take that cold, so he didn't leave the house for a month. And so he told
Yep.
my mom that was his last winter. Now she could retire from her job and go with him, or she could stay there and keep working. But he was going to Texas, and their first winter down in Texas, Terre Haute got hit with a real bad snowstorm, so he'd have been inside at least a week for that. So they missed that. But hey, Deval Don, is it
Yeah,
safe?
that's why I know the Canadians love the when it gets here. Let's say we're the 50s. It's 50 degrees is nothing to them, where we're shivering over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when
But
I first moved out here to New York, they were complaining about the heat and the humidity. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I was out here for three years, maybe 4 years before I turned the air conditioner on one time during that 3 or 4 years, and that was just to see if it worked. I slept with the windows closed and a fan on every night but one. And now this apartment I didn't have an air conditioner. That's the only night my first 3 years, might have been first 4 years, that I wish I had an air conditioner. But see, I now we don't get as hot as you guys, but we get up in the 90s, a couple of weeks or more every summer, and it'd be humid. You don't have much of a breeze, and so it was just something that when I moved out here, my oldest sister, they've been out here since, what was it, 73? I think they moved out here, 73, 74. And somewhere in there, might even, but so anyway, they moved out here and they quit getting cars with air conditioners because they were so used to the heat from back in Indiana that when they moved out here, they never even used an air conditioner. And then they went home one August, which is usually our hottest month back home. And they decided after that, at least they always had 2 cars. At least one of them had to have an air conditioner. And this is they'd probably been out in New York for 10 years or more. But they live out on a hill. They always had a nice fresh breeze blowing through their place. So it was, they were always very comfortable. Now their oldest son, he just had a house built, I say just built, listen to me. They're probably 20 years old. Now my oldest nephew's in his 50s. He was born the day they landed on the moon. So if you don't know, you can look that up. The day they landed was the day he was born. So anyway, they built a brand new house, and they put air ducts in there for air conditioning in case they ever decided they wanted to add it. Like I said, they've been there about almost 20 years, and they've never added an air conditioner. And but their heat is what do they call that heat? Geothermal heat comes up from the ground, and their basement floor is heated, their garage floor is heated, and it keeps their house quite warm. Deval says it's a great game there, guys, for Bama and Tennessee. Says it's crazy. But like I said,
Deval Don from South Texas, and JLB, that's the neighbor's horse. He does a good job of
yeah, I know. I've seen you feed that horse a few times.
That's my neighbor's horse. So I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but he's cleaned out he mowed graze on that grass pretty good there. So he's working on this here.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to go hungry with all that grass. I see you got green. Have you been getting a lot of rain? Because I know for a while you guys were in a kind of a drought, nothing like Wyoming and that Arizona out there.
No, not that damn, but we were in a drought for four months, and then it started pouring in July and August and September.
That's what I said. I mean, you guys had a drought, but it was nothing like that area out there. I mean, that Lake Mead. That's crazy.
Not as bad as them, but we were. But most of Texas was in a drought, and northern Mexico.
Yeah.
Also, because they also needed water like us, but they got more rain than we did. over Monterrey. There's a 3-hour
Yeah.
bus ride from here.
Okay.
And
I know. Like I said, I've been doing. I went out and did a walking video. I had to do it twice to get it actually recorded. Part of it. And
yeah, I never use the app on the gimbals. It's always just press record on the cell phone. Never use the app.
well, no, that's what I did. I put the phone on there, connected to the gimbal, and I pushed record, and it wasn't doing it for some reason. They weren't communicating. But as soon as I took it off the gimbal, the phone worked properly.
No, it might have been
So I'm
that.
just wondering.
I don't know. Might have caused that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was wondering if maybe it could be dead or dying, the gimbal, or if maybe I need to delete the app and re-add it. You know, maybe I need.
Yeah, I've never applied. I've never added it to the cell phone.
Well, I got I got 2 cell phones.
Oh, okay.
This is my small one, and it's the one I use with the gimbal. And then this is my bigger one because it doesn't fit the gimbal. But I do a lot of videos with it as well, but not if I'm using my gimbal because, like I said, it doesn't work. And I just bought myself a phone holder or stand. I guess you would call it a stand that you attach to your dash. And I just used it for the first time today. I could use either phone with that one. I went ahead and used my bigger phone. So I took a small video, about 2, maybe 3 minutes at most. I'll probably put it up.
Yeah, 99% of the time I use the gimbal.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that I don't use the gimbal.
Well, I tried using the gimbal, and it didn't want to work. So I got to figure out what was wrong because, like I said, if I took the phone off the gimbal and turned the gimbal off, it worked. But if I put it on the gimbal and I hit that, the record button, how it's supposed to go to the little circle and the pause sign, would never go to that. All it did was it went from one red circle to another red circle, and if I pushed the second red circle, it went back to the first red circle.
You must be using you're using the app because all I do is just press on my Samsung. I just press the little right arrow and the stop button, and that's all I do.
Yeah.
Or the zoom.
I got Samsung as well. Both my phones are Samsungs.
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
I connected to the gimbal because it stabilizes it. If it's not connected, it doesn't really want to stabilize.
Nope.
And so I connected so it stabilizes, and then. Well, I've done it before. I've used my gimbal many a time and taken videos with it. And matter of fact, that one that's silent, the one I wanted to do a voiceover, and I was trying to figure out how to do that, and I downloaded it by mistake. That was using my gimbal, but at least it recorded. This one wouldn't even record. It didn't record anything. And I had a good, I want to say, 7 to 9 minute video. I didn't record any of it. And then I stopped it and kept walking because I went for a walk. Let's be honest about it. I need to walk. And we're hugging you back, Maurice.
Yeah, you see, Tim, most of them have that stabilizer, even like the newest GoPros, but it's still, I don't have a steady hand.
Yeah.
That's why I have to use a gimbal.
Well, my hand's okay, but it's not as steady as that gimbal is,
Yeah, no, I'm not steady at all. Not Parkinson's, but bad, but it's not good.
Yeah. Now, Jerry, I don't know if you've done it or not, but if you type in LLL, My Nightbot will drop your link. So
I don't think I've tried. I know how to do it because I've done it in other channels, and I haven't done it. I need to get there's an option there where you type in weather.
Yeah.
And the city, and then let you know what temperature it is in that city.
Yeah. But
and
your cats are playing around, I see.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Some of them are my mom's and my sister's, but the cats none of them are mine. The only thing that I always own is just the rooster and the hens. And before, way 10 years ago, no, actually before the first June flood, I used to have ducks in the teens, like
Yeah.
15, 20 ducks, and I used to have plenty of chickens. They roost in the trees. This one's they sleep in that little roost there. But yeah, the hens are pretty good, especially when the price of eggs. I don't know what the price of eggs are now. I know they went up pretty steep for the 6 dozen eggs. And it's
Yeah.
weird how we buy eggs in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You buy them individually and not by the dozen like here, or you can go to the store and just buy a dozen and a half, 3 dozen or 6 dozen.
Well, we got you can buy half a dozen, 18, a dozen and a half, and then
Not good, Tim.
and then there's one I know that I don't know if they call it they got a term for it, but it's like 30 of them. Now that's what I buy. I buy the 30 because I eat 2 eggs almost every day. So if I buy a dozen, well, that doesn't last a week. Dozen and a half.
Yeah, 36. You buy the 6.
I
You
buy
got to get the
30.
36.
Well, no, the way they sell it here, it's only 30.
No, okay. We got them over here by the big store at HEB and Walmart. They both sell them at the half dozen, the dozen, dozen and a half, 3 dozen, and 6 dozen.
Okay. But well, this is just one package. It holds 30 eggs.
Yeah.
It's a plastic package, and they're not stacked on each other, just all the way across, and they got a little bubble around them with plastic. And when they have that, that's what I buy because it's the cheaper way to go. Plus, like I say, today I didn't have any eggs, but I usually eat 2 or more eggs every day. I usually have 2 eggs for breakfast, but I got up late today. It's the latest I've slept in well over a week.
The good eggs are the duck eggs. I don't know if you ever tried duck eggs.
No, I've never tried duck eggs.
Duck eggs are well, not balut, but real duck eggs who cook with
I don't.
breakfast.
No. I might try duck eggs, but you can't get me drunk enough to eat balut.
I'll eat balut.
Right.
It's no big deal with me. I just don't like vinegar. I won't put vinegar. I would just put a little salt. No vinegar for me.
I'm afraid I'd get a feather stuck in my throat. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's a 16-day-old little duck embryo, you're okay. And you saw Tim's comment there about mixing the paint.
No, I didn't see that. Let me go up. I know Tim said your new phone has a.
It was Tim. Now that's why I use a gimbal. 99% of the time I have to have a gimbal. I don't use it on my GoPros. I just use the GoPros. I just place them flat on the ground with the mini tripods.
Yeah.
The GoPros are more for the train vlogging and for time lapse.
Yeah, Tim. Like I said, they got a term for it, and Trey may be it, and there may be a different name, but like I said, it's like a tray or something like that, and there's 30 eggs to them, and but yeah, my hands don't shake quite that bad, Tim, but I have arthritis in both my hands, so I don't want to put my hands too small, but and it's amazing how typing on the keyboard doesn't bother my arthritis. If I write too much by hand, then it bugs the heck out of me. And Tim says he needs a gimbal too.
Yeah. See, mine, I bought it the day before Amazon. What is it, Prime Days? And I paid $78 directly from the Hohem.
Yeah.
And through Amazon, I paid $78.
I'm going to say I paid close to the same. I didn't get mine during Prime Days either. I paid close to the same.
Fantastic. It's way better than the Osmo, I think, or something like that.
Well, like I said, I got the Hohem iSteady Mobile Plus, 3-axle handheld stabilizing gimbal for smartphone. And,
yeah, I got that one because I saw a YouTube video on why not to buy the other one, the I forgot
Yeah.
what it's called, something like that.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about.
So the guy did a video of why not to buy that one. Because I was gonna buy that one, and then
Yeah.
he showed this one here and got me hooked. And it's fantastic. This is just similar to the one that Chris has,
Yeah.
which is the one that I had in it originally, but except that I can't. These heavier phones can't too much weight on those older gimbals, and that's why I bought the Hoheim for him because it's fantastic. And today I had a lot of trouble with getting it steady. You just press the trigger, the button in the back,
Yeah.
and it resets itself. You don't have to be calibrating anything.
Well, I bought this cell phone, the smaller one, because well, the gimbal wouldn't hold my bigger one, and that drone, I tried my bigger one with it, and it wouldn't work with it. So if I ever get to using the drone, I was going to also need the smaller cell phone to control, for the controller.
That's good to hear there, Tim. Yeah, you don't want that. I know I don't have that.
Now, like I said, I haven't. I got the good one. I got a really nice one that work gave me for being with them for about 35 years. And they had a TV. I was going to take the TV. And,
yeah, I would have gotten the TV, but yeah, here I live 2 miles from the airport, municipal airport.
Yeah, you can't
so
fly. You can't fly it within 2 miles of an airport without.
Yeah, I live 2 miles away.
Like I said, if you have permission, you can do it, but you got to put it in permit. So every time you'd want to use it near where you're at, you'd have to get permission. And you can't fly them. At least here, you can't fly them in the state parks without permission, or the federal parks, from my understanding.
I know you can't fly it over there by SpaceX at the beach.
Yeah,
there's signs all over there that you can't have a gimbal there.
You're not a gimbal. You mean drone?
I'm sorry, a drone. I don't know if it's Elon Musk that put that on there. He's pretty good in driving the.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah,
it probably is because a lot of his stuff is proprietary. He doesn't want that getting out too much.
And, yeah, he's good in distributing money to politicians. Yeah, well, he can afford that.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying though. I mean, they don't want you flying drones around the airport because you could be looking for weak spots, or you could be actually flying something in with it might not be a big payload, but a small payload of explosives or whatever. They just say, we don't want the drones here. We don't want to take that chance. Now, I guess you can get permission to do it, but you better be licensed first, and probably have to be a professional.
Yeah,
they got 2 different licenses. They got one where you're an amateur and you just register your drone, and so they know when they spot it, because I guess they can get your number off of it, and if it's registered to you, they know who it is, and if you're doing something wrong, they can come talk to you about it. But like I said, if you want to fly it, like there's some places I would love to fly it, but I'd have to know I'm going to go up there and get permission, because there's some really nice state parks in New York up around where I used to live that would really, and one federal park, you got Niagara Falls up there, but I wouldn't even try to fly a drone up there because I just don't think that would anybody would be agreeable to that. But,
yeah, that's true, Dan. But Elon Musk owns Cameron County there, that beach. Basically, you need $1 million or $10 million, or that's nothing to him, but it's a lot of money to the county. And I know he's bribed. He's given a lot of money to them. And the Bowdoin, it's hard for me to look at the chat on a cell phone. It's not the same as being in a computer.
And I'm sorry, Timmy Stories and Vlogs, welcome. If you'd like to come up and talk, come on up. The link is there. And Timmy is a female blogger, for those of you that's wondered. Timmy, if you type in LLL It'll say here down here at the bottom of my screen. It will drop your link so people can check your channel out. Like I said, I'm more about trying to help people. I like talking. People that know me know, everybody knows I like to talk, and I can carry a live stream all by myself for quite a while if I want, but I don't like it that way. I prefer to have other people up here. I got Jerry, I call South Texas home up here. He's a vlogger. And we got some other vloggers in the chat here. And Deval Don, he doesn't vlog, but at least unless he started, I don't know about Dumpster Far if he vlogs or not. I didn't see him
This is
drop
in
his link.
hiatus, Davao. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you there, Larry. Yeah, Chris is in hiatus. I messaged him in this latest video, but somebody else prior to me had messaged him and asked him if he was okay. Yeah, he's okay. But that wouldn't want a drone. I've seen Philly in the Philippines had crashed his. I think Chris was also mentioning how he's afraid to lose it.
He's afraid to.
And it was
get out of sight.
Yeah, out of sight, and then also, what is it? San Juan La Union vlog, Mark, over there in La Union, and Luzon. I don't know if you follow his channel or not, or know his channel.
Yeah. Now,
surfer.
Now, do you know who Bud Brown is?
I've seen maybe a few Bud Brown videos, but not recently. Not pre-pandemic.
He likes using a drone. He doesn't use it very much. I think his got ruined or something, but a friend of his would loan him one once in a while. And the friend was back in the States, and was having a house built. So he went up with the drone and took a video and put it up on his channel so everybody could see it. But it was showing the house and from the aerial view and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. If I need to sit around and start playing with the drone and figure it out, but it will be a long time before I get one that let it get out of my sight. No.
I wouldn't want to lose it. Whether it was given to me for free, I wouldn't want to lose it. Yeah. I'd keep it within maybe a few hundred feet from me.
Well, I'd let it go farther than that, but because I put it up higher than 200 feet.
No, but in distance, like half a mile from you. I don't know how far they can go before.
It depends on the drone. They got some that can go miles away. Those things are way, way too expensive for me. But my drone cost you a little over $200, but $200 and some bucks. So it's not a cheap one.
No.
But it's not expensive. I mean, they got them out there for over $1,000 and more. And no, I'd have to become addicted to it. Hello, Ding. How you doing, sir? If you want, remember, Ding, just drop LLL in there, and it will download. I mean, it will put your link into the chat. So just type in LLL. Lazy Larry Lee, LLL. Big Daddy Beck says they can see that they need to get you a cat. Some cats.
Yeah, I remember Eddie Senior. He has cats. I call him Eddie Senior. I always call him.
I call him Ed or Big Mac Daddy, and then Junior I always just call Eddie. That's how I call him apart. Because Eddie signs in as Eddie.
And I call him Eddie Junior and Eddie Senior.
Yeah, I call him Edward or Big Mac Daddy. He seems to like the name Big Mac Daddy.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Whoa. What happened here?
Something happened. Okay.
Yeah, for some reason you dropped out. All of a sudden I went large and was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I saw something with the StreamYard because it wasn't me.
But But hey, very good, Ding. Yeah, it doesn't have to. Now, Ding's showing you guys it can be small L's or it can be large L's. It doesn't matter, just as long as it's 3 L's. I wonder if it would do it as a large, so small, and a large. I think it would, but like I said, I don't know. But Ding, if you want, come on up, buddy. We'll talk to you. We like having people up here talking, and we'll talk about things that interest you. Jerry will talk with you. Jerry's been to the Philippines a couple times, I think, at least once I know of.
Twice. 2018, I
Well,
was. In 2018, I went to Palawan.
Yeah, I thought you've been there more than once.
And then 2019, I was there 25 days.
And then we got Dan, retirement journey, Philippines bound. Well, you should take that Philippines bound out of it, and it should be Dan's retirement journal because he's in the Philippines.
Or in the Philippines.
Yeah, he's in the Philippines, him and his wife. Although he's talking about traveling again, which I don't blame him. When you're retired and got the money, do it.
Makati Mas has been over there for several months now, over in BGC.
Yeah, he's over in Manila area.
Yeah, he's
not vlogging as much as I would like, but he's vlogging.
He's got the money though. I wouldn't want to be staying in those expensive condos.
Oh man, I can live on what he just spends on the condo, man.
Yeah, what he spends there in a month.
Hey,
it's several months for me in the province.
I'm not. I wouldn't be province, but I'm not going to be Manila. That's way too expensive.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be.
Like, me would be more like Iloilo, Cebu, Dumaguete, Bye City would be a good place at least to visit.
Iloilo's doesn't over in Australia.
Oh yeah, Bobsy. I think Bobsy goes to
Bobsy channel. Yeah, Bobsy is got family in Iloilo. I'm more into Luzon. I want to go back to Pangasinan. That's the little bit above the central part of Luzon, but not the northern part of the island. And of course, you got La Union, you got Benguet, which is that beautiful city that the winter capital for the Philippines.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Baguio.
Baguio, yes, in Benguet. Thank you. But I'd like to just go over there and see it once, maybe a day and a half. But go to Pangasinan. That's I know one of the JLB guys, JLB guys, his wife is also from Pangasinan.
JLB?
One of the guys there, his wife is from Pangasinan.
Okay.
And I've been there before.
Well, like I said, I mean, I would love to go and visit different places. Now, I don't know if I would ever.
Angeles City. Angeles City, I'd probably just go visit, but that's over in Pampanga, near Tarlac, somewhere like that. I've only been not through Angeles City, but I've been through the province, passing through on my way to Pangasinan.
Yeah. I tried to change that tape on the bottom to put more space in between what it's saying, so it would make it stand out a little bit more, but it won't let me change it. Even though I hit save.
Mine says chicken eating. I never removed that. That's old on my banner.
Yeah.
Because I haven't used StreamYard in a long time.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I wanted to put more space between each sentence.
Yeah.
Just to spread it out and make it a little easier to read, and it won't let me change it. And I hit save each time I tried, but and it shows it here.
Yeah, Tarlac. I went to the Dow, the bus station in Tarlac.
Yeah.
I've been there on my way to Pangasinan. Dow,
Okay.
I think, is the name of the where you go. There's the big, but well, I don't know now. The bus station used to be really packed. But I do want to next time I go back. I wasn't a vlogger then, but I do want to go back because I take more. I used to love going to the wet market.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
I know Johnny, Subic Bay Johnny.
Yeah.
He loves. He's done a lot of. I like his videos because this vlog because he shows everything, good and bad. He's not cherry picking. You
Yeah.
show you the bad parts of it. You know what? Okay, you come here, you might see this. It's
Yeah.
literally show you that.
Uh, I'm going to tell you something. Tim Dazek is trying to make us all jealous, at least those of us in the States. He says, I've been in the Philippines for over 10 years now. I know he lives around Angeles City, but like I said, I didn't realize he'd been there 10 years. Dan stopped and visited with him when he was on his way over. But
Yeah, that's 10 years is nice.
yeah, I mean, I'm almost old enough to be over there that long, not quite. But like I said, I can't blame anybody but me. I've never been married. So all my bills were created by me. Now, I might have been chasing women, but they didn't
Yeah,
hold a gun to my head and say, you got to spend the money. Some of us taking trips that I really probably couldn't afford at the time, but I took them anyway. And that's connected a lot with my father because when he went on total disability, he had been on there for a little while. And he said, if I was faking this, I could really enjoy this not working.
yeah, it's
So he drove a semi cross country for years. So when he finally got to retire, he didn't get to enjoy it. And he didn't get to do a lot of things when he was working because, well, he had 7 kids. And so when he took time off, he stayed home and took his kids around and did things. So as I got older and started, looking at things, it's like, do I want to wait and maybe never be able to do it? So I spent money doing things. So I got the memories.
yeah,
But I still made some bad choices that I don't mind the memories. I don't mind spending the money that maybe I didn't have. But, well, Dan here, he worked for the state back in California. Well, my youngest sister worked for the welfare department back in Indiana, and she tried to get me to go to work with her. And like an idiot, I didn't do it. I thought, well, she didn't make that much money, and did I really want to deal with the people not making that kind of money? I didn't look ahead. She retired at 55. She's just now 61. All right. Now, she would have worked till she was 62, but she had a new boss come in and she didn't like her. And she said, she goes, I don't like the witch. Just put a B where the W goes. And so she went ahead and retired. Now she works part time because her and her husband both like to go gambling and they like to take trips. And so, like I said, she hadn't got her Social Security yet. And her husband, he's a little older, but I don't think he's got his Social Security yet. So he works part time too. He retired from the state as well. He worked for the state prison system. And so, they're doing all right. They got a nice little 2-bedroom home. It's just the 2 of them. One of the bedrooms they got to set up as a gym, and 2-car garage. Like I said, really nice little place. And they go to Branson, Missouri, which the people of the Midwest. That's some similar to Nashville. It's got a lot of country singers and stuff. But they got gambling places to go gambling and stuff there. I think they've been to Vegas a couple times. But like I said, if I'd have done it and went to work when she asked me to, I could have retired. I probably would have worked past 55 because, I wouldn't have been there as long at 55 as she was. But I could have worked till, 55, 60, took my retirement. And then kept working some job like I'm working now until I decided to take my Social Security, I'd have been a lot better off. Or if I just worked until I took my Social Security with the state, actually, I think it was a county, but they got excellent benefits, good retirement. But that was my mistake. And so I can't blame anybody else. She tried to get me to do it. But like I said, the fact that I spent money to travel, I went to China in 99 and had a blast. There was a group of us. I was the one who wanted to go. Got a friend of mine who's from China to agree to go. And then some other people that they knew that wanted to go. So we all went. Now, the ones that went with us, there was 3 guys. They only went for about a week. So they wanted to do boom, boom, boom. And I went for 3 weeks. And well, we were in Changsha, and they wanted to go down to Hong Kong. Well, they were going to go down to Hong Kong, spend a day, and then come back. And I thought, I'm not doing that. I've been to Hong Kong a couple different times while I was in the Navy. And I wasn't going to run down there that far, just a good little train ride and spend a day and then come back. Now, if they were going down there for 2 or 3 days, I'd have gone. But I don't like to be rushed when I travel if I can afford it. And so, no, thank you. I spent over a week in Beijing, and I spent over a week in Changsha. And between the 2 places, we went one place. No, we only stayed 1 day, but that's because it was going from Beijing to Changsha. There's a little village called Zhengzhou or something like that. A ZNZAO or U. I don't remember the exact spelling. It's a nice sized city, but outside of that city is a mountain area. And that's where the Shaolin Temple from the movie fame. It's actually out in that mountain outside the city. And it's a small little village. There's a couple other Kung Fu schools in that village. Just like if you watch some of the Kung Fu movies, it's there. And we went out. One of the guys that was with us really wanted to go see it. And I said, sure, sounds like fun. So I went with him on that. And we hired a driver. He drove us out there. Now, between it was 5 of us. It wasn't that much per person. Now the driver, you pay for his gas, you buy his meals, and you give him cash. But at that time, we got 9 yen. I believe that's what they call their money, if I remember right. Got 9 yen to every $1. And so it wasn't that real expensive. It wasn't real cheap, but it wasn't real expensive. And it was a great time. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. A lot of places I went that were tourist areas where tourists would go, I was part of the attraction. Because a lot of these people are from a small village that don't see foreigners. And I could tell I was part of the attraction because I could see them moving people till I was in the background of the pictures they were taking. Now, when I was at that small village, I don't remember the name of the village that the Shaolin Temple's at, I was sitting down at this one area that you went in, and there was a bunch of statue of the monks and stuff like that, and different fightings, And I was sitting there, and I had a couple of young ladies walk up and asked if they could have their picture taken with me. And I told them yes. Now, the other 3 guys that were there, they seemed upset that, people were staring at them. It's like, hey, you may be the only white guy they've ever seen in person. Because there's a lot of small little villages that, well, the foreigners have no reason to go to. There's nothing there for them to see. There's no work, no anything. So
I've seen videos where African colored people go to certain countries, and it's like must be like wow for the people there, because it's something that they'll probably never see in their lifetime again.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, these people they're on a vacation. They're at a tourist area themselves.
Yeah.
Now the people that lived in these large cities, they really didn't try to take your picture because they were used to seeing foreigners. But you get these people from these small villages that come into the village or city maybe once or twice a year, if that. You know, they see foreigners, and it's an attraction. And
Yeah,
then also,
when I was there in the Philippines, sorry to interrupt, they would ask me, "Are you? What am I?" I would always say Mexican, or I'm from Texas. Never say that I was an American.
did you
I'm
see what Dan? Did you see what Dan said, Jerry?
Yeah, let me check the.
He says, "If I was an attraction, I would be a roller coaster." Hey, Ed, now
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
it's
How's
annoying.
Vegas? But and Larice, come on! I wish you'd come up, Larice, and talk to us.
I was chat with Ed in Spanish because he knows. I don't know Japanese other than sushi or what's the other one there?
Sayonara.
Sayonara. But
Yeah.
yeah, he knows his Spanish well. So in the messages and YouTube, I'll comment in Spanish.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're talking to him only, do it in Spanish. I mean,
I,
it
I'm
doesn't
going to
hurt
Mexico.
anything.
Yeah, I'm going to Mexico in the morning. Got to get me a haircut and eat breakfast.
I'm letting my hair grow out. I think I'm going to let it grow out enough that I can comb it straight back. It's coming on winter, so it'll give it a little more warmth to the side of my head. I mean, my top of my head is going to be that's a lost cause.
Yeah, we got a cold front coming in Wednesday. It's supposed to drop temperatures at night into the upper 50s, low 60s, and the daytime in the 70s. So it's going to be chilly. It's going to be kind of cold.
Yeah.
Like the Filipinos, where anything below 80 degrees is cold.
Yeah.
Here, anything below 70s is starting to get chilly.
Yeah. For you guys, let's see if I don't know if I got. That's my other phone making noise.
You're the Nook Spaniard, Dance. You
All
got
right.
that fishing hat. I have one similar to that. Very similar. It's got the netting, the mesh, so that's breathable for your head. I got
Yeah.
one of those similar, same color. I bought at the Academy. I don't know in over in California they have Academy Sports goods. I forgot the name of the store. Bought that more than 10 years ago. But I really don't wear a lot of headgear. That's way too cold. Ed, anything below 70 is cold.
It's below 70 here. It's 60, and it's
Yeah,
going down. It's going down into the 40s.
way too cold.
But trying to on one of my. There's what I want. It's 16 degrees Celsius right down in Watervliet, which is where I live.
I got 4 videos that are uploading that I'm gonna upload to YouTube if I can tonight.
Yeah.
I got the kookaburra to sing at or call or laugh at the zoo. I don't know if Bobsy knows what that is. It's a Australian bird.
Okay. But
You've seen it in movies. It makes a like a jungle kind of sound.
now, for the Filipinos out there, the low is going to be 6 degrees Celsius. Now, in Fahrenheit, they're saying it's 60 right now with a low of 42.
Yeah, that's way too cold.
Oh, that's not even cold yet. I hate to say that because I agree with you. It's way cooler than I like. Dodger Blue, if you know, y'all know Dodger Blue.
Yep.
On my
87 is perfect. That's 87 for Tim is.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, on my last short, Dodger said he wanted some videos of snow, and I told him when it snows, I will. And he had the snow type of snow backwards. because he was thinking the lake effect was the heavy wet snow, and the light fluffy stuff was regular. And I said, no, the lake effect is the light fluffy, and the wet stuff is the regular snow. Now the light fluffy snow, you take, let's say, 10 inches of light fluffy, 1 inch of heavy, and the 1 inch of heavy is going to be probably 4 or 5 times heavier than the 10 inches of light. I mean, it's just really light and fluffy. And it's easy to clean your car off when it's the lake effect snow. Now, where I live now, I won't be getting much lake effect. But lake effect, you took a broom, swept it across, or brush or whatever, across your car, and it was gone. And a lot of people would just clean off the front, and then they take off driving and just let the wind blow it all off. So you're driving down the road when they first pull on there, and you got snow blowing back at you, because that's how they're cleaning their car off, and it gets it completely clean if it's the lake effect snow. But the wet snow, no, that stuff has some weight. It's a lot harder to clean.
It's only snowed here 3 times in the past 50 years.
Yeah.
So we're glad that we don't see snow here.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Tim says it's 87. Tim says it's 87 degrees at 8 a.m.
Yeah, that's perfect weather. That's beautiful weather. I'm used to it because we're during the summertime. It's similar here, except that when I was there, it's more humid down here than it was in the Philippines.
Oh.
But it's not as bad as, let's say, maybe Georgia or Florida, where it's a lot more humid over there.
It all depends where you're at. Now, when I was in the Navy over there in Civic Bay, Longopo area, during the rainy season, you had your choice of how you wanted to get wet. You could put a jacket on to keep the rain off of you, but then you're just sticky from sweat. I myself personally just prefer to get wet, so I didn't wear a jacket. I mean, sure, you got wet, but it was more comfortable than being sticky from sweating. At least for me, it was. And yeah, we used to have these kids, and they'd be at the bridge where you right at the end of the base where you're coming off base. A lot of them would have an umbrella when it was raining and offer to either they would sell you one or they would hold it over your head as you walked to the bar that you wanted to go to, and you gave them a couple pesos, which now when I was in the Philippines back then, Dan and them would hate this. The Filipinos would love to see this. I think it was like about 9 pesos to $1. Now, this was back in the 70s when I was in China, when it was 9 yen to $1. That was in the 99, actually 1999. I went to China. So, I mean, there's a huge time difference. But it was like, I want to say right around 9 pesos to $1 to 10 pesos to $1, something like that. Peso was almost 10 cents. And so it was fairly cheap for us. You go to a bar that had a live band that played music, and they were really good. It cost you maybe 2 pesos to 2 pesos 50 centavos, like 25 cents for a mixed drink or a beer. I mean, it was great for us. And like I said, nowadays we'd be hating it, but the Filipinos would be loving to see that, they got the peso was only 9 pesos to $1 or 10 pesos to $1. That would really help theirs as far as purchasing power.
Yeah.
And like I said, back then, minimum wage was, oh God, a couple bucks an hour.
Still is. I know
I'm talking about for the United States.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say over there. I know my friend over there. He works in Makati or BGC. Overtime at 60 pesos an hour.
Yeah, about a buck. That's about a buck an hour. But
yeah,
I worked at a restaurant when I was in high school. I worked at a Bonanza, which is a for some of you guys, you don't know what a Bonanza is. If you know what a Ponderosa is, exact same thing. It was a steakhouse that had a cafeteria style. You went through, ordered your food, and picked it up as you went
We
through
had
the line.
we had Bonanza here back in the 80s.
Yeah,
And
its corporate headquarters was in Dallas.
okay, we had several of the cities here. In my hometown, we had a Bonanza. I never ate there, never had the chance. But it's it's a cafeteria kind of setting.
Yeah, it's kind of a cafeteria. You go in, tell them what you want. Now the way we did it, I'm not sure about Ponderosa because I worked at Bonanza, so I never went to Ponderosa until years and years later. But you go in and you say, I want a number 4 medium rare. Well, rare was red, so medium rare would be put on the side. You get the 4 and it'd be on its side. You just take the thing and turn it over on its side. And medium was a different color, and then well done was a dark brown, if I remember right. And because you got to remember now, it's been 50 years, over 50 years, 51 years actually. In December will be 51 years since I worked there. So we're talking years ago.
A long time ago.
Oh yeah, and minimum wage back then was $1.50, I think. $1.25, something like that. Wasn't very much. And you got to remember, back then there was people that raised their families on one of them working.
Yep.
And so, like I said, so that was in 71. December 71 was when I quit. I graduated in January of 72 from high school, but I worked to the end of December, and then I quit. I gave them my notice. I mean, they knew I was leaving, but I took off from end of December from working until March 3rd when I went into the Navy. I was in high school to January 20th, which was a Friday. I actually didn't have to go that Friday, but that was my official graduation date, which happened to be my mother's birthday.
Wow.
So because I graduated, my mom and dad took me to Iowa, which is where my cousin George and his family lived. At that time, while I was in the service, they moved back to Terre Haute. And I went up there for about a month, and then I came back home for a while. Then I went into the Navy. And but it just that was what I did. I mean, they wanted me. Bonanza wanted me to go half a day of school my senior year, and then work full time after school. And then when I would have graduated from high school, they wanted to send me to Dallas, Texas. That's why I know where it was at, the headquarters, because they were going to train me to be assistant manager. And I told them no. I wanted to go in the Navy. I'd always, my entire life, I wanted to go in the service ever since I can remember. Now I would change what branch I wanted to go into from time to time. Matter of fact, just before I went in the Navy, I was taking Marine Corps. And Vietnam, like I said, was going on, and I was thinking about going to the Marines. And I talked to three guys that were all Marines, and all three, I think, had been in Vietnam. And all three said the same thing. They were proud they did it, but wouldn't do it again. And then a family friend who was in Nam, but was a Navy. Now, he was in a lot of firefights. He was a heavy equipment operator, CB. Now, if you ever watched the movie Green Beret, Patrick Wayne plays this heavy equipment operator. That's John Wayne's son. He's in the movie. And they're out there clearing the brush from the base camp, the fire camp, whatever you want to call it, for the Marines. They come under fire while they're doing it. Well, that's what my friend that was in the Navy did. And he said he was proud he did it and would do it again. So I'm thinking, do I want to be proud of something that I did but wouldn't want to do it again? Or do I want to be proud of something I did and be willing to do it again? So I picked Navy. Now, my older brother was already in the Navy. And we used to, before I decided to go Navy, we'd go back and forth after each other. He'd call me a bellhop because the Marines have that red stripe right down the outside of their pants, you know. He said, it looks like a bellhop, you know, at a fancy hotel. So I'd call him an anchor clanker. And,
Uh-huh.
but I ended up being an anchor clanker and not a bellhop. And
Hmm.
he actually pulled into port in San Diego the day I graduated from boot camp. And he came to boot camp to see me graduate. His captain, his captain wasn't actually a captain, he was just the captain of the ship. Found out that I was in boot camp and graduating the day he pulled in. So he told my brother, as soon as the gangplank goes down, go see your brother. So he got there during the graduation ceremony, took a movie of it. So my mother may still have it. I don't know what my brother did after he passed away with it. I think my mom might have it. There is a picture of my graduation ceremony, a movie. And I didn't know my brother was there till after the ceremony. I'm back in the barracks, and I get the word that I'm wanted over at the R&O, receiving an organization, is what we called it, R&O, that I had a visitor. And I'm thinking, well, who the heck is here? Did my mom and dad drive out? You know, because it was a long drive. I mean, from my hometown to San Diego is almost 2,000 miles. And so I get over there, and it's my older brother. He's in dress blues because he, you know, pulled in, had to be in these dress blues to get off the ship at that time. And so we're talking, and we called them CCs, which is the same thing as a DI, drill instructor, company commander. We just use different terminology. And so my CC saw my brother and realized he was in the Navy and was in port for the weekend, on his way to Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, where he was going to be stationed. And we had free tickets to go to Disneyland there in California. And so anyway, my company commander told my brother, said, look, we're going Sunday to Disneyland. If you want to go, you have to be in your dress blues, and you have to be here at this time. He says, you'll get a free ride up there, free tickets to get in and all that. It's on us if you want to go. So my older brother showed up in dress blues, and he took movies of us at Disneyland. So my mom hopefully has those somewhere. But like I said, my mom's in the nursing home, and she's got a slight case of dementia, so she probably doesn't have any clue. I have to check with my sisters to see if they know. But he also took movies. He later on pulled Brother Duty with me. I was going to put in for Brother Duty with him, and he says no. He says I got a great duty station. Pearl Harbor is great. He says, but the ship goes out to sea a lot. He says, now why don't you see what you get, and if it's worse than what I have, I will put in. You know, I'll put in for Brother Duty if you got something better. If it's worse, you can put in for Brother Duty with me. You only have to wait a year, but I only have to wait a few more months. Well, I got San Diego, which is not as nice as Pearl Harbor, but it's still nice. And I got a destroyer tender, which is a ship that works on other ships, so its job's in port. It didn't go out and play war games. So I had the better duty station, you know. So he pulled Brother Duty with me. We made my second Westpac together. His first one, it was on his other ship. He was in Nam on the other ship. And my ship had orders to Nam, and they got canceled on my first Westpac. My second one, Nam was over. And, well, pretty much over anyway. It was over as far as everybody else is concerned. And so anyway, that's what happened. And he got some movies while we were out to sea. So, I mean, a lot of people did see movies of the ocean and how blue the water is. They just can't believe the water's that blue. And I'm here to tell you, it is. It's that blue. And we had dolphins swimming by the ship and stuff. Now, also on that ship, I got to shoot a 50 caliber machine gun off the fantail For those of you that don't know, the fantail's the back end of the ship. Now, this probably wasn't oceanly, how shall I say it, environmentally correct. But back in those days, this is what they did. They had a 55-gallon drum, and they tossed it overboard. And your qualifying on the 50 caliber was shooting at that drum and trying to hit it while the ship is moving, because you're going up and down and moving back. It makes it pretty hard. So, but that 50 caliber, you can see where those bullets are hitting. So you just correct and keep going till you hit it. I was back here watching everybody else because I didn't really need to do it, but I was back here watching. I had some time off, and when I was back here, the guy that was in charge said, "Larry, would you like to shoot?" I said, "Sure, give me, let me try." And so I got qualified on the 50 caliber, even though I didn't need to be. So, but that was kind of fun. Now with the pistol, if you stood a petty officer of the watch, you had to be qualified with the 45 pistol. Now the qualifications for the 45 pistol was fairly simple. You had your pistol on one side, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. It would be on the hand side that I'm right-handed, so the pistol was on my right hip, and the ammunition would be on my left. Now you carried the gun empty. Now the qualifications was you have to pull the gun out, load it, fire it, and you had I want to say 7 shots, and you had to have that gun emptied within 11 seconds. So when they said go, you pulled your gun out, loaded, put the clip in, cocked it, and fired off 7 shots within 11 seconds. And I qualified with the pistol. And when I was on shore duty, I went out and qualified with the riot shotgun. Never had to use these things, but I got qualified with it. And so it was something that I did that was, part of my Navy. In the Navy, every sailor has to know how to fight a fire on board ship. No choice. You got to know. And this is because in 1970 or 72, I want to say 70, on the USS Forrestal, which was an aircraft carrier, there was an accidental bomb dropping on deck that exploded, that caused a fire, and all the fire team, the main fire team, went running out, putting out the fire, and there was a secondary explosion, which either killed or wounded all of the fire team. So the backup fire team went out and started to put out the fire. And another explosion kills or wounds all of them. So now all the people that's been trained to fight fires on a ship are either dead or severely wounded. So now you got guys going out there that don't know what they're doing, but seen what the fire team was doing, tried to imitate it, and which worked to some degree, but disaster in others. They go out and they lay the foam down because of the jet fuel, and the fire would go out. And then they come along with the water hose, wash the foam off the deck. Well, the fuel was still there. It would recatch fire and burn. And that fire lasted at least 3 days until they could get some people in there who knew what the hell they were doing. And all of this is filmed. This is all on film because every takeoff and landing on an aircraft carrier is filmed. And so because of this, there was some investigation, and then they decided that, hey, if something like this happens, they got to know how to put the fire out, because you can't wait on somebody else to come and put it out. Like I said, it burned for 3 days. And so they cut it down in a small version, and you can find it on YouTube. It's on there. I've told other people about it. It's called Learn or Burn. And I think there's 2 versions of it. There's a longer version and a shorter version. And it's about the fire on the Forrestal. And, hey, Dodger Blue, I didn't see you come in, boss. But anyway, like I said, if you want to see it, and I think the short version is only like 10 minutes or so. It's not real long. It's called Learn or Burn, and they show the explosions and show how people come out, and they show how they people are putting the foam down, and then somebody else washing the foam off, and the fire just catching again. And it, like I said, it burned for 3 days before they can get help there to actually put it out. And so the Navy took that film and they made the film Learn or Burn. And every sailor, once they released that, every sailor had to watch that movie at least once. I've seen it more than once while I was in the Navy. Every time you change ships, I was on 3 different ships, but every time you change ships, you had to be qualified on the equipment on that ship for putting out fires. You had to know where all the equipment was at. And this wasn't started at the very beginning of this. This is what they worked out and kept improving on their firefighting system. When you first went, you had to learn how to use the equipment, but that was it. Then later on, well, you had to know where all the equipment was at. You had to know what all the equipment was. So like I said, it started off with, all right, everybody have to know how to fight a fire. Well, now everybody has to know where all the fire equipment's at. And so that's, but like I said, it was called Learn or Burn. So if anybody's interested, it's a good video. Like I said, I've seen it many times. And every time I watch it, it's something else. Because you got to realize this is not Hollywood. This is real life. And so these are real people getting hurt and killed. And like I said, I learned through my first. They started the fire, and you had to get down on the ground, and so you could breathe. And while we were down there, they said sang the Anchors Away, the Navy song. Wow, none of us knew Anchors Away. Here we are in the Navy, we don't know that song. A bunch of us knew the battle, the Marine Corps battle hymn. So we started singing that. And the instructor yelled, "All right, you want to fight? You can fight another fire." And we had to go through the whole thing again. What can I say? And so anyway, that's my recommendation for a video that if you want to know something about Navy life, that's a good show. But like I said, it really does tell you. Hey, Jerry, you have a good night now, buddy. I noticed that you dropped out. I was wondering why. Yeah, you like to go to bed early. So take care, man. Get a good night's sleep, and I'll check out your videos a little later. And I'm still trying to get somebody else to come up now that Jerry's gone. I wish Maurice would come up, or Dan, or hey, Raymond, how you doing, man? It's going pretty good. Just if you want, hit the button and come on up. You're welcome to come up. I don't know if you video or not. Raymond is one of my longtime followers. He's the one that I sung Happy Birthday to. He's also suggested a couple of things. He's not always agreed with the videos I've done, but that's fine. Not everybody's going to like what I do. Not everybody, some people, they hate everything I do. That's fine too. The nice thing about it is you get to choose. And salamat, Jerry. Take care, man. But like I said, I enjoy talking to people, as everybody that knows me knows. And yeah, you're right, Tim. Fires on ships are very dangerous. Because like I said, especially if you're out to sea, you can't call anybody else. That's why they made all the sailors learn how to fight fires. Because you're it. And it may take 2, 3, 4 days to get somebody there to help you. And so like I said, I remember one fire drill we were doing. It was just supposed to be a practice. And we were going to have, I forget what kind of fire it was going to be. It wasn't going to be electrical. And I was in the control room. I was doing the plotter. In other words, writing down where everybody's at and what's going on and all that good happy stuff. I wasn't on the line fighting the fire, but I was recording everything. So anyway, they send off the drill, fire drill, or however they do it. I don't, like I said, I've been out of the Navy for a long time. I got out in 78. So anyway, they passed the drill, and so I go running up. I was, like I said, I was in the control room on this particular uh, fire party. I've also been part of the hose team and all the other good happy stuff. You learn all of it. And so I'm in the plotter room, and we go from a drill to not a drill. There is a electrical fire as they go running in to this room to practice. The air conditioner in the that particular barrack, or not barracks, compartment, sleeping compartment, caught fire, and it started smoking. So they went from a drill to a real fire. Now, everybody should know that on an electrical fire, you got to turn the electricity off. You got to turn the power off, because you go putting anything on the electricity with the power on, you could be in real trouble. It could hurt. It could kill you, especially if you try to use water and electric. That's not a good thing at all. So, like I said, you have to learn all this. And so, we go from a drill to a real fire, and we get it put out, and everybody is happy, and got good grade on that one. And then on shore duty, I was part of the fire team on my duty station. And there, if I'd have stayed in, they were talking about having me learn how to drive the fire truck instead of being on the back with everybody else. They were thinking about upgrading me to the driver, but I got out instead, so I never did do that job. But like I said, everywhere you went in the Navy after that learn or burn, after the first fire, everybody had to know how to fight a fire. It was just that simple. It became mandatory. Hey, Dodger, I don't know if you were here earlier. I mentioned that you wanted me to do some vlogging on snow. And as I responded to you, that I will when it starts snowing. But the lake effect is the light snow, and the regular snow is the really heavy snow. And if you live in an area that gets lake effect snow, you get a lot more snow. You really do. But if it's all lake effect, it's not a problem. I mean, you can drive through it real easy. Cleans off your cars real easy and all that good stuff. The heavy, like I said, you have 10 inches of snow, lake effect, 1 inch of normal snow. That 1 inch weighs a lot more than that 10 inches. I mean, it just does, because it's wet. It's got all that water still in it. And the lake effect is just so light and fluffy that you just go like this and it goes everywhere. It's real easy to clean off. But now, Tim, it could be a hint toward the present, but as you well know, in the Philippines, it's the Burr months. It's celebrating Christmas. She's probably mad at you that you didn't put it up last month, man. It's almost November. What's wrong with you? You can see my Christmas tree in the back, but that's up all year round. I have no place really to store it, so I'll just leave it up. Now, if I had a 4 foot, 5 foot, 7 foot tree, something like that, I have a storage room. I'd get a box, put it in that, and jam it in that storage room. But right now, I got my exercise bicycle in there. I got to clean up my living room enough to get, and hallway enough to get that out and use it once winter hits. Right now, I'm trying to walk instead of riding the bicycle, but when winter hits and starts getting either too cold or too much snow, I'm going to have to use that exercise bike to get my exercise in. As far as dressing goes for the winter, unless it's bitter cold, I mean, like below zero, you can dress up for it. If it's in the 20s, I can get dressed up and go walk it. But if you got a couple inches to a couple feet of snow on the ground and it's cold, forget it. I got insulated boots to keep my feet warm. You put on insulated underwear and a couple layers of clothing, and that helps keep you warm. That's what you got to do. Hey, Raymond, I wish I had an inch. But anyway, like I said, I mean, we're just trying to have fun, everybody, and everybody knows me. At least most of y'all know me. Uh, but I, uh, I wish somebody else would come up. It was nice talking with Jerry for a while, but like I said, Jerry is a morning person. Jerry gets up early. I mean, I think I get up early when I get up at 5, but he's already up and out of his house by that time. Maybe not out of his house, but he's up and already having his first cup of coffee. And I don't drag my butt out of bed right at 5 either. It's closer to 5:30 or 5:40. Now, when winter gets here, I'll have to drag my butt out of bed closer to 5 if they're calling for snow and stuff, because you got to clean your car off and you got to take more time being careful driving into work. I only live about 14, 15, actually, I think it's about 12 or 13 miles, but it takes me about 17 minutes to drive there. Now, if I go the throughway, I can do it in about 14 or 15 minutes. But you're doing, well, I speed. Let's be honest about it. The speed limit 65. I'm probably doing 80. Okay. Now I take the shorter, actually probably shorter distance route, but it takes longer time because I'm not dealing with everybody that's trying to cut in and out of traffic all the time. Now going into work is not too bad, but when I come home, those people are crazy, man. So I just take it's a longer route. I can't drive anywhere near as fast, but I'm a whole lot happier because I don't have somebody doing 80 miles an hour trying to cut over in front of me right on my bumper, or some of these people that it's amazing more wrecks don't happen than what they do. But that's what I was saying, Tim. I thought she'd probably mad at you because you didn't put it up 1st of September. But hey, Dodger. Oh, there's no peeing contest here. We're just having a good time. But anyway, it just, I lost my train of thought. I was laughing at something. But yeah, it just, everybody's got to do something and have a good time. And like I told some people, and I may have told all of you, I started vlogging after I did the first one, which is Hi, I'm Lazy Larry, to explain to people how I got the nickname Lazy Larry and why I used it. I decided to do more because I enjoyed it. And then I decided to do the walking videos like Chris did and Jerry does, that Jerry still does, because I thought, well, this would be a good reason to get up out of bed when I decide to retire and move, because I don't want to work forever. My grandfather worked till he worked a regular job until he was about 80, 82. Then he went out and bought a pickup truck and started going around hauling people's junk for them. So I don't want to do that. I mean, my grandfather felt like, if he wasn't working, he had no reason to keep moving. And I don't want that kind of feeling. It's just not me. I enjoy my job. Once I get there, I don't like going in. I don't. But I think I told all of you I'm a security guard, which actually fits my personality pretty good because I'm interacting with people. So I like that aspect of it. Now, there are people that you interact with that just don't like having security around. And so most of them are just kind of rude. You say hi to them. They don't even look at you. And, but that's all right. I had one guy that way for my last site up in Rochester area. And I kept saying hi to him every day. And about a year or two later, he finally said something back. And then after that, he got real friendly. I don't know if he was just real bashful or wasn't sure how to take me. And I happen to be a ball buster. Imagine that. I like to joke around. There's some guys that get off work shortly after I start from where I'm working at now. I start about 7. They get off around 7:30. and they're leaving. I said, "Oh no, I'm sorry. You have to go back in. You can't go home yet. It's too early." They just like first couple of times they just looked at me. What? Are you nuts? I told one guy, "Hey, I got a phone call. And they said they need you back in there." He goes, "Huh?" I just laughed. So he realized I was just joking around, and a lot of them seem to like that. But like I said, you got to make your job fun, and if you can, I mean, there's some jobs I've had that would be the wrong thing to do. I worked for a while as a guard slash receptionist slash clerk. Now, depending on who I was interacting with, I either had to be very serious or I could joke around. And yeah, I happened to work at the reception desk. And if somebody came in, I had to greet them, get them signed in, get a hold of their person they're visiting, have them come down, pick them up, and escort them. And I'd give them a temporary badge to show that they were a guest, which would mean if they're seen wandering around the building without an escort, somebody's going to get in trouble. Won't be me because I handed them off to the person supposed to take care of them. And if they were a visitor from another site, another sister company, I get them signed in, and if their badge worked at our site, then they can just use their badge, or I give them a company badge, which let them get around, and everybody see that badge because they were all different colors. Visitors was yellow, a company employee was blue, and a contractor was green. So if you saw the badge, you knew what they were and basically where they had to be. Green badge could wander around by himself, but he had to be in certain areas depending on his job. And then a yellow badge had to be with someone that had either a blue badge or a local company badge, which would have their picture and all that. And then the clerk part of it was all the people had to bring down their invoices so I could input it into the computer, which would then send it to the corporation so their clients could be paid. Their vendors, so the people they bought stuff from. Otherwise, they weren't going to get paid by that month. It had to be in my computer at corporate by the end of the month, or they had to wait another month to get paid. Now, all these engineers, mostly engineers, I worked in an engineering center. A lot of them, either them or their administrative assistant, would like to wait till the last week of the month to bring their stuff down instead of bringing it down each time, So at the end of the month, that last week, I'd be busy as all get out because I'm putting all these invoices. So the vendors can get paid. And the rest of the month, I'm sitting there going, dee, 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 dee. That's when I started following YouTube channels. That's when I found, like I said, Chris and Sabu. And I used to watch Riquet Beyond the Sea, or Philippines Beyond the Sea, something like that. And then later on, some others. And like I said, the first one I found, I think, was Riquet. Then I found one over in the Philippines. It was, not Philippines, Thailand. It was Thailand Rob, 20 Seconds in Thailand. And then another Filipino, then another Thailand. I went back and forth. I had trying to follow. And then I decided to just drop the Thailand. I'm not going to go. If I go there, I'll go visit. But I less interest in Thailand than in the Philippines. Dr. Blue said he was a security guard at the City of Phoenix Police Department back in the 80s. Talk about a crazy job. Police were cool, though. I'll tell you something else that I did, Dodger. I worked for Indiana State University Police Department as a radio dispatcher. Now, I was a student at that time, and so I wasn't a security guard, but I was in the office fielding all the calls. And I got on the radio and told the police where they had to go and stuff like that. And every hour I had to go KLX 991, Terrell, Indiana State University. And that was once an hour. I had to do that. And that was back in the 80s. Still remember that. So anyway, but then I would ask each officer where they're at, and I would put that in the log. So that was unless something happened, that's the only thing I put in each hour. Now, I've had to send police officers to fights. 2 guys get into a fight over some girl. That happened a lot. Had to send them down to the married student housing because of the domestic dispute. I had to tell them that there was a guy walking around with a gun. I think that was at married student housing. He was wearing reportedly wearing a brown leather jacket. I even got a phone call one time from some little girl who got stuck in an elevator. And the elevator, I used to get a lot of calls on the elevator phone, but the elevator phone only called me, security. And I could tell who was calling. And this girl was like 10 to 12 years old. I want to say around 10. Her dad was a professor and in this building. But the elevator quit working. She was on her way up to see her dad. And so when I found out who she was, where she was at, I sent out a message to the officers in that area, and they responded to go check on her. We called the elevator company, and I talked with her on the phone the entire time, keeping her company, which kept her calm from, because she knew somebody was watching out for her, taking care of her. And I later on got a call from her dad thanking me profusely because he said it really made his daughter feel better that I stayed on the phone with her and talked to her. I said, I would, in that situation, there's no way I'm going to leave a kid, boy or girl, because you're afraid a little bit when you're that young. You're stuck. Is anybody coming? What's going on? And 10 minutes probably seems like an hour, when you're nervous about, are they going to get me out of here? And so I just stayed. I don't even remember how long it was. I really don't. But the entire time, I just talked with her. And we talked about whatever she wanted to talk about until they got her out. And, things like that you actually enjoy doing. I mean, with the things I've done as a security guard, I wish to God I never had to do. When I was working at Delphi up in Henrietta, which is right outside of Rochester, I went to the bathroom because I'd been relieved by my relief, and I usually take my stuff with me and then just leave straight from the bathroom. But for some reason this day, and thank God I did leave my stuff in the office. I left my stuff in the office. I went to the bathroom, came back, and I heard a moan, and I walked around the corner. The guy that relieved me had a stroke, fell down, busted his head on the table, the work table, and blood was everywhere. He fell back in his chair and then slid out of the chair, and there was blood everywhere. And so I had to get on, even though I was off work, I got on the radio and I called for a medical emergency team to respond to the security office. And then I hung that up and I called 911 to get the ambulance rolling because there's no way he's walking out with what happened. He had a big old crack on his skull and, like I said, bleeding. So we happened to have some EMTs in our medical response team, and we even had a nurse, a lady who was a qualified nurse was on the team. So they come down there and they take care of him. And while they're doing that, I'm still on the phone with the 911 operator getting the ambulance on the way, letting them know. And they said, well, what happened? I said, ma'am, I don't know. I said, I wasn't in the room. I come back. He's laying on the floor, blood everywhere. And, he's out. I mean, he can't answer anything. So we got him the help he needed. All right, Dr. Blue, get that rainwater, buddy. Take care, man. So like I said, there's been some good things. And the guy lived. but it took him a while to recoup. For a while, he had to learn to rewalk, and he got his voice back. He was able to talk and stuff. I've talked to him. I haven't for quite a while since I moved away from up there, but he was never going to work again. I mean, he was already around 60-some years old, but for a long time he couldn't lift. He had to watch how he walked because they told me, and I never saw him after that, but I did talk to him. But I was told that if he tried to lift his foot over a water hose, it would be too much. He'd trip over it. So, hey Ed, how you doing there?
Hey Larry, how you doing, brother?
Not too bad. And but like I said, it just 9 o'clock already. Hey,
I was lying back. I didn't want to dominate your stream,
yeah. Well,
Give somebody else a chance.
I've been wanting some people to come up, and don't seem like anybody wants to. I mean, Jerry did for a little bit, but like I said, Jerry happens to be a early morning person. He gets up around 4:30 every morning, whether he's working or not. He just gets up early, so he goes to bed early, which makes
Turn
sense.
the light on there so you get a better view.
But like I said,
Turn the lights with the wall switch on.
I happen to be a person that I hate getting up in the morning. Even the worst thing I had when I was in the Navy was getting up.
I'm a morning person myself.
I'm not. I've never have been. Never will be. My mom, if she was here, she'd tell you I've always hated to go to bed, and I've always hated to get up.
Well, I always believe that an hour before 12 is worth 2 after.
Yeah. But
you get more done in the morning.
Not me, because I'm fighting sleep when I get up that early.
I hear you.
I'm yawning. Oh, man. Now, today, actually, I had a great day's sleep. I got about, I'd say 8.5, maybe more. Now, my machine showed over 9 hours. I sleep with a CPAP. But, you got to remember now, it takes a few minutes. Usually it takes a few minutes to get to sleep. Usually within 5-10 minutes, I'm asleep. But then I'll wake up for a little bit and lay there for a little bit. And then I'll get up and go to the bathroom. Then you lay back down, turn the machine back on. Again, about 10 minutes. And then you're back to sleep. So, I got up 3 times. So there's about 30 minutes or more there. And then that's to get to sleep after the machine turns on.
Sometimes I should sleep with a CPAP, but
I cannot.
I don't have one.
I cannot sleep without one unless I got a recliner. I could eventually get to sleep in the recliner without the CPAP. The sleep is not quite as good as with the CPAP, but
I sleep like a baby regardless, but sometimes if I have a head cold or something, I get up, it's like running a marathon in my sleep, and I know that's really bad.
Yeah. Well, that's just because I don't care. I can be completely clear nose. I got such a large uvula when I fall asleep, it drops down and blocks my air passage.
Sure.
And that's why I need the CPAP. Before I used the CPAP, I had to sleep on my stomach, or I would quit breathing before I went to sleep if I laid on my back. I mean, as soon as I relaxed, the uvula would block the air passage. As soon as I relaxed.
Sleep apnea is a killer. It's one of the most major killers in this country that nobody talks about.
Oh, it can be. Let me tell you now. I'm going to turn my camera off for a minute. I'll still talk. I just got to straighten some things up. But anyway, I probably had it years ago. But when I got the test, I was in 99 after I came back from China. And I had jet lag. And I was never going to recover from that jet lag because, with jet lag, you need more sleep to recover. Well,
What?
when you got sleep apnea, you can't get unless I stayed in bed all day. I was so bad with I stopped breathing because when they test you to see how many times you stop breathing in an hour and how long. All right, and if you don't stop at least 6 times, they usually say 6 to 10. Somewhere, in other words, how long do you stop? It has to be a minimum of 6 to 10 for so long before they consider it being sleep apnea. Well, I had 129 episodes per hour for 10 to 15 seconds each episode, which means a little over twice a minute I quit breathing.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah. And so that means in an 8 hours sleep, I mean, not waking up, 8 hours sleep, I got less than 2 hours of actual sleep.
I used to sell boats in the yacht business, and I had 3 or 4 boats on my for sale list from people that had sleep apnea, didn't use their machine on their boat, and died.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, a lot of the older people out here will remember Reggie White, the minister of defense. He died because of sleep apnea.
Yeah, with his sleep apnea machine under his bed.
He wouldn't use it.
Yep.
But that's what killed him. And
I'm from Philly. I knew Reggie White's whole deal real well. The minister of defense.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna put him on my Echo show.
I've seen Reggie White at a football game grab a hold of another 350-pound football player and have the guy waist high sideways off the ground.
Yeah, I believe it. He was a powerful man now. But like I said,
I knew a lot of football players though.
Yeah, but like I said, another guy talking about sleep apnea that I worked with. Yeah, it's more common than a lot of people believe, but it depends. Ed said sleep apnea is pretty common. The thing is, with sleep apnea, the severity makes a big difference too. Because, like I said, I think I had it years and years ago, but it wasn't as severe as it is when I started getting treatment for it.
Well, babies, they say, can be born with it.
Yeah, I believe it. Now, I'm going to tell you something a lot of people don't know. This is what I was told when I was being tested. Now, anybody can get sleep apnea if they snore. If you don't snore, you're not getting sleep apnea. You got to be a snorer. That's one thing. Before if you don't snore, you're not getting. You don't have sleep apnea.
If I sleep in the wrong position, I snore like a diesel truck.
Yeah, but if you're not snoring in every position, you don't have it. All right.
Well, you got to learn how to set yourself up to sleep and stuff.
Yeah, well, I
had to do that.
I snore in every position. Now, another thing is, like I said, it could be male, female, black, white, brown, green, yellow, purple with pink polka dots. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. But the most common person to have sleep apnea is a white male that's overweight. But you can be thin and have it. But usually it's a white male that's overweight.
CPAP machines are amazing today compared to what they used to be.
I've been using one for over 20 years. Tell me about it.
They've changed so much. They used to sound like a vacuum cleaner running.
Now they're really quiet. My CPAP, not this one, my other one. I got one. I've had 4 CPAPs. Okay, and my first one, what they call the reservoir, which is what you put the water in. If you have it bad enough, you need to use water so your throat don't dry out too bad, or your nose don't get dried out too much, because it depends on how much pressure you have, how bad it dries you out.
Sure.
All right. They were separate units. The reservoir, the CPAP slept on top of it. Then the next one, they were connected, but you couldn't separate them too well. I mean, you can separate the one, but you still had the other part like the reservoir, you could take off and not use it, but you couldn't take off the heater part for the reservoir. There was a little heater that it set on. All right. Now, my third one, I could actually take the reservoir off, and it took oh, something maybe this long, almost the length of two cell phones, down to just one cell phone.
Yeah, my friend has one, and it's connected to his insurance company.
Yeah.
If he's not wearing it for so long or sleeping so many hours a day with it, they'll take it off him or refuse to pay for it and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, the
Like,
reason is,
it's like Big Brother's watching.
yeah, but the thing is, the thing about the CPAP, and the reason why they're that way, they're paying for it. There's not cheap, but it's a preventative piece of equipment. If you use it properly, it will increase your health. If you're not using it, then you're decreasing your health, and they're not going to pay you for that.
Yeah, but before I would have my insurance company looking over my shoulder, I'd go buy a used one on eBay, and they're cheap as dirt. They don't cost, they're nowhere near what one would cost you new, and you can buy a used one for like from $35 on eBay.
Yeah. But I have two right now. I got one that I use to travel with, so I leave my good one at home. So I make sure it doesn't get destroyed when I'm traveling or lost. And then I got the one I take with me. Now, the one I take with me is my second one, because my third one was on a recall. I took it back.
I'll tell you one thing, not to interrupt you, but you talk about traveling with a CPAP and everything.
Yeah.
If they arrest you and incarcerate you in this country, they do not have setups available to inmates for CPAPs.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a crime, because you could literally arrest somebody, incarcerate them, and kill them when they go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Now, what I would do if I got arrested and put in a cell, I would set up and go to sleep setting up, because if I laid down, I'm not getting any real sleep. Setting up, I'll sleep. Don't get me wrong, it's not as good as using the CPAP, nowhere near. But it's a lot better than laying down and trying to sleep. I found this out when I came down to the area I'm living in now many years ago. I came down for a friend who was buying a house, and they asked me to take their deposit down. And well, not their deposit. They were having the house inspected.
I got arrested one time, held for days in jail, with no charges whatsoever being posted. The judge was guilty of judicial misconduct.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not supposed to be held more than 72 hours without being charged.
Well, that's kind of not totally accurate, because they don't count the weekend. So if they arrest you on a Thursday, you cannot possibly, in some situations, get out till Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, I didn't know the weekends didn't count.
Well, it doesn't count in the judicial system, and it has to be a judge to overturn the other judge to let you out. This happened to me in Bucks County lockup. They set me up and arrested me for no reason and held me for days. And I literally told the judge, and I was back in her court for something else, that she kind of owed me a pass today because I didn't attack her for judicial misconduct, and she threw my next case out.
Well, now I'll tell you, when I was in the Navy out in San Diego, I'd been drinking, but I wasn't drunk.
And I'm not a criminal kind of guy, Larry. I want to make that clear too.
But
I have no record.
I looked to the right, and the stoplight turned red. So I pulled out of the parking lot, going to the left, and I pulled up to the stoplight that was red, stopped. The car ran a red light after I came out, and had to slam on his brakes to keep from hitting me. In other words, he was going to keep going. He would have ran the next red light too. Now, there was a cop around the corner. Couldn't see anything that happened. He was far enough around, he couldn't even see my car.
And figured it was you and stopped you.
Well, no, what he did was he came over and only pulled me over. He should have pulled everybody over that was in that line when he got there.
Well, you can't exactly do that, but
yes,
okay.
Yes, they can.
Oh, they
Well,
can legally, but physically, can they?
Well, if the guy would pull over, yes, because we were all stopped. All they had to do was motion for us all to pull over, and if we
Yeah.
didn't, then they could chase us and get us for evading arrest or whatever. So I pull over. I pull it. It was a gas station. I pull into the gas station parking lot, and I'm the only one he motioned to come over. And he gives me the field sobriety test, which I pass. And he goes, "Well, I think you're drunk. You're going to the drunk tank." I touched my nose. I walked the straight line, did all that. He said, "You got bloodshot eyes and alcohol in your breath." I'd been in a bar all night long, smoke-filled bar. You know, that makes your eyes bloodshot.
Oh, sure.
And I smoked back in those days. And I had a couple of beers. I even admitted it. So we
In
go.
certain states, all you need is a police officer's testimony that you're visibly intoxicated, and you're at the state minimum already and chargeable.
Well, see, now, not in California, not at this time. Back then, it was still 0.10. Back before.
Jersey, they don't have to have you on anything but a police officer's testimony.
Now, Indiana, for public intoxication, that's all they need. But for driving under the influence, they got to have the breathalyzer and at least the breathalyzer. So I go in and they give me the breathalyzer test.
And you probably passed.
I passed it. I wasn't even at 0.05. I was below that. I don't remember how low, but I was below the 0.05, which was at 0.05. Then the police officer's opinion comes into play in California and Indiana, which now is 0.04, but back then it was 0.05. If he's got you where you're unsteady on your feet or you don't touch your nose properly at 0.05, then it's his opinion you're drunk and you're drunk. But if you're under that and you passed everything, you're not. So I'm given a ticket for drunk driving, and I have to go, and I'm in the Navy. And so I have to take a day off to go to court to face this charge. And they tell me that, "Larry, all right, you're taking a day off. This is why you're taking it off. If you beat the case or it's dismissed, you're not in any trouble. But if you're found guilty of it, then you're in trouble with the Navy because you're the you were the one that made a mistake and you're going to pay for it."
Sure.
So I go to the court thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to be in all kinds of trouble." And I go in, I give the ticket, the summons, to the clerk at the desk. And back in these days, you could still smoke inside buildings everywhere. And so, like I said, this is back in 1976, 77, somewhere in there. So anyway, she says, "Well, it'll be about 10, 15 minutes. And I'll tell you which court to go, you're going into." So I go over, I sit down, I light up a cigarette. It's not even 5 minutes later, she's calling me back up. So I walk up and I said, "Which courtroom?" And she goes, "None." She said, "The DA took one look at your charges and the paperwork. He said the judge would laugh him out of court. You're free to go. Charges dropped." So a couple of weeks later, I get a letter from the police department telling me my arrest record had been changed to protective custody. And the arresting officer was given a letter of reprimand in his permanent jacket. And I think he was given 30 days off without pay, which means he'd been in trouble before. Otherwise, it had just been the letter of recommendation.
Reprimand, yeah.
Reprimand. But given that 30 days off without pay with it, he screwed up before. And so I ended up having a free day off outside the time it took me to drive there and wait, which wasn't very long waiting, but it definitely had me nervous. Because like I said, as sober as I ever been, I spent the most time in jail.
My favorite lawyer just passed away on me recently. We were great friends. And I had done so much for this guy over the years. He had his own law firm. And
Wait, hold on. Ed, 21 days, is that for driving under the influence, or is that for just being held for any crime? Ed says in Japan it's 21 days in Japan that you can be held in jail.
Probably.
Japan's a lot stricter. So I'm just trying to figure out, is that for any crime or is that for like being considered drunk driving? And you've not been charged with it yet, but it's probably any crime because Japan is very tough on crime. And I don't know if Raymond's still here, but hello, Raymond. If you are, the only ones I've seen make a statement here recently is, Dodger, because he was leaving, Tim Duzak, and then Ed Denoy. One of the Eds. Your Ed Army.
The Ed Posse.
Yeah. We're missing a couple Eds, but you got two of you.
My lawyer, I took to court with me one time over a traffic ticket, and he brought the other intern attorneys that he had working in his office. So we go into court over my traffic ticket.
Hey, Junior, how you doing?
And I show up, Larry, with my lawyer and 3 other attorneys.
Yeah.
And it was intimidating to the cop that was testifying against me because he's looking at me like, who the hell's this guy that I pulled over and gave a ticket to? He has a whole law firm he shows up with because they're all dressed to go to work. I got a 9 o'clock court time. They picked me up, took me to court. And then when they get all done, I didn't have the money to pay my ticket. And my lawyer said, well, you got to go in and talk to the judge about that. Then they're all out in the lobby waiting for me to come out. You should have seen the look on the judge's face. He's like, what the hell do you mean I got to give you a payment schedule? I said, I ain't got the money to pay this. He said, you just come in here and danced all over my court with a law firm, buddy. That doesn't mean I have any money. Well, how did you get all the lawyers? How do you afford them? I said, believe it or not, they owe me a favor because I do favors for them all. Like, they call me up and I come change a tire in the parking lot so they don't have to do it in their legal clothes. It's all true. My lawyer called me up and be like, Donnie Burke needs a tire change. Can you come do it? Leslie needs a tire change. Can you do this? No problem. Arson, can you get out and help my uncle out? He needs a jump, whatever.
Yeah.
And I can't. I need that where I live now. I'd love to have that kind of relationship with a legal office.
Ed Denoy says even that 21 days can be extended. And Tim, I'm glad to see you're still here. You can come up if you want, Tim. It just seems like there's not too many people in the chat anymore.
Are you aware that the United States incarcerates more people per capita and more people than any country in the world?
Well, I know we put a lot in, but you got to look at. I think there's a lot that don't need to go to jail that go to jail, but there's a lot that don't go to jail, especially here recently, that need to be there. I mean, you look at all these people that in New York, let's go to New York City. There's these guys beating up people that have been arrested for beating up people, and they don't even go to jail, so they're back out beating up people again.
Well, I agree with you, Larry, but it's not a perfect system.
Oh,
but,
not even close.
I mean, we incarcerate far too many people over nothing. And when they were holding me up there for that weekend, they had a guy that had been there for over 90 days because he didn't have an address, and they arrested him for trespassing in an empty warehouse. There's nothing in the place because he's trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
Literally.
I'm going to try something here, you guys. I'm going to type LLL in myself just to see if it drops my link. There's nobody on here, so let's just see what it does. Well, sorry, Ed. I think that was me, Junior.
All right.
Knock you out for a little bit.
Yeah, we got 2 people beaming in from the same residence.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But that showed up there. Let's see what happens.
But my son will tell you, I'm like a lawyer myself, Larry.
Yeah.
Well, I happen to have a lawyer in the family. My sister, my oldest sister's oldest son is a lawyer. Now he's a little different. He's not. And I did drop it.
Well, lawyers all have specialties.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. My nephew happens to be a labor lawyer. He negotiates contracts for people.
I've done the contract negotiation also.
Well,
I did the Middletown Township Highway Department in Middletown Township, Pennsylvania.
well,
I literally wrote their whole contract negotiation with a friend of mine who was their employee representative, and he went in and got it all approved. We pulled everything that he wanted out of the police contract and wrote it in.
Well, like I said, my nephew, they started that department shortly after he started, or just before he started, and that was what he wanted to be. He got hired by the law firm that he wanted to get hired by. He went to Cornell Law School, which is a excellent
The top notch.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was an excellent school, and he did the 3-year degree. And he's a law partner with the company now. I forget how many years, but it's the minimum requirement. You have to work like 3 years or whatever it is, and then you got the chance to become a partner.
Cornell's like up there with University of Michigan. That's another very big law school.
But like I said, he went there, and now he's got 2 sons. His oldest son's in college. His youngest one is a senior in high school. And so, yeah, the oldest one has played drums professionally. He's a professional drummer.
Who's he play for?
He played for a religious guy.
Oh,
I can't think of the guy's name, but he's played for him every time the guy comes around and he gets paid for it. There's a drummer school or drummer thing that they hold in Chicago, and he was the only one that wasn't in his 20s, and he was 16 or 17. He was invited to go there and went. And he's got a band that he just started. I can't remember the name of it.
A friend of mine is a heavy metal rock and roll legend. Yeah. He invented speed metal. His name is Peter Bautista. He's the bass player, or was the bass player for a rock group called Accept.
Hold on. Hey, Tim, you take care now, man. And Sammy, hello, welcome. That's all right, Sammy. There's not that many people, but if you want to come up as well, come on. Hey, Robert, you guys are welcome to come up. I can hold a lot more people. All right, Tim, have fun. But yeah, it's just like I said. I mean, he's my oldest nephew. Now he's a sophomore. He might be. I can't remember. I want to say he's a sophomore in college, and it could be a junior. He's either sophomore or junior in college. Like I said, his younger brother is a senior in high school, and they really are a lot different than each other. Just like their dad, and their Uncle Tim, who are brothers, quite a bit different. Like I said, the oldest one, Max, he uses a lot of, I won't say terminology of a lawyer, but a lot of strategies of a lawyer. But I don't think he has any plans on being a lawyer.
Well, if you ever need anything legal, Google law. Has it all.
Like I said, I just go to my nephew. Yeah, you know, it helps when you got one in the family, you know.
Oh, and, sure. I don't have that fortune anymore.
But
I haven't been popped for anything where I live now either. I never thought I'd be a shine selling hillbilly here in Johnstown, but they all show up my driveway and they wanted to buy the product, and the old guy used to make it and sell it. So when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
But now remember, keep that on the down low, though, buddy. We don't want you getting arrested.
They couldn't get me if they wanted to.
I see Junior agrees with you. He's shaking his head no.
My still said I don't even have to light up anymore.
But no, it just like I said, things are just so wild anymore. It just gotta wonder what's going on. But
I live so far out in the sticks, they can't even get Junior a ride to school. I have to be his school bus.
well, I don't think I was ever too far out not to get a ride, but I was too close to get a ride, and it was farther than I wanted to walk, especially during the winter. But
Well, if Junior had to walk to get the school bus, he'd have to walk almost a mile. And the reason why I can't let him even do that is because he'd have to walk out of here in the dark. And I got everything from bears to rattlesnakes to vicious raccoons, skunks, deer, foxes,
oh yeah,
you name it, coyotes, bobcats. It's all here.
well, I lived when I was in kindergarten. Now this is back in the 50s. I lived probably 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile from school. By the way, you had to walk because there's a little creek between you. You couldn't cross it. You had to go up to the bridge. And but I walked with my sisters and my older brother. But they didn't come pick us up, at school. Now
Man,
I have lived many times. I've lived in less than a mile, a half a mile or so from school, that they didn't pick you up. You just walked to school.
yeah,
No.
well, I'd have to give him a 7 mile route or walk. He'd have to walk 7 miles to school, so I'd drive him.
Well,
But
I did walk to school that was almost 5 miles. I did that by choice because they had a school bus when I lived that far away. But I was the very first bus stop, which means you're on that bus a long time.
I'm so far up a mountain road that if you're back here, you're either looking for me or you're lost.
Yeah. But like I said, it was I hated being the first bus stop. I started off that way, and I got bored being on the bus so long, so I'd take off because I always got down there before the school bus ever got there. I'd take off and start walking the bus route, and whenever the bus caught up with me, I'd get on the bus, and I got to where I was walking halfway, and the bus driver seen me coming, and he waited, and I didn't run, so he took off, and I was like, that's fine, I'll walk the rest of the way. I don't care. And I just started walking to school. This was in ninth grade, I believe. I was still going to junior high because back then, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade was in our junior high, and then 10th, 11th, and 12th was high school. Now they've gone to, since then, they've gone 6th, 7th, and 8th as a middle school, and then 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th as a high school. But back when I was in, like I said, it was the other way. But even in high school, I walked to school, I walked home. If I was working that day, I'd walk from the school to work. And many times I'd walk home from work, which is even farther than the school, because I enjoyed walking. And it's like, I'm not in a hurry. And if it was really late or weather was bad, my dad would come and get me from work. And one of the guys I work with sometimes would give me a ride home. But a lot of times I just walked it. It didn't bother me.
You know what blows my mind? Not to change the subject, but if I wanted to bring my girlfriend in from the Philippines to live with me, it's almost like a 2-year visa process to get them off the island and on the plane to get them here.
Hey, Robert, I want to thank you for coming. Tell you the truth, tonight hadn't been a lot of people in the chat area. A few more than what the like buttons show, but not a lot more. I doubt if I had more than a dozen today. But thank you for your comment, telling people to hit the like button. And if you can't stay very long, well, I want you to get feeling better. I know you've been having some trouble with your hip and all that good, happy stuff. And I know you've been having a lot of trouble with headaches.
Oh, God bless them.
Yeah. So
Headaches are brutal.
Yeah. And I did see your video where you walked around your apartment complex, and that is a nice looking complex. I like the looks of yours better than mine, but yours looks like it's a lot newer too than mine. Mine's been around a while. I still like my apartment complex. I feel safe walking around it at night. But if you guys have seen my video of some of the decorations of some of the apartments, you'll see some of the places have a nice big space in front of their apartment. I have a small space. It's got a big bush in it and then some plants, some flowers or something. So there's not much room for me to decorate. And
I like Big Bush.
I like small bush and small bombs. We won't get to. Let's stay all right here. But anyway, look, I think Robert's going to leave. Sammy doesn't seem to be wanting to come up. So we've been going now for over 2.5 hours. So I think
You out of here?
Yeah, I think so. It's after 9:30 here.
Yep.
I got a couple other things I want to do and try to relax a little bit before I go to bed. I'm probably not going to get to bed till late tonight because I didn't get up till after 9 o'clock this morning. Almost.
Well, good
10.
luck and God bless.
But you guys take care. I'll be back again next week. Come back and join me. Junior, maybe next time you'll actually talk. I can see what you're doing. That's why I'm giving you a hard time, man. You guys take care.
All right, Larry, you have a good night.
Sammy is waiting on the pond to dry so she can finish painting. Cool. All right, everybody. Remember to be kind to each other. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe and healthy. Plus, as always, try to have fun. See you, Eddie. Bye.
Good night,
Bye,
Larry.
Sammy. Good night.